Thanks for being with us, Coach Doenges, on the first ever City Football Coaches Show. I want to talk a little bit about last week's game and look ahead to Piqua this week and kind of get your thoughts on the team and on your opponent.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start off with a recap of last week's game. West Carrollton comes in, they're 1-3, you guys 4-0. They get the ball and pretty much execute their strategy, taking time off the clock. Their first attempts didn't obviously result in any points, but they converted on a fourth down, and a couple of third down, taking nearly 6 minutes off the clock on that first drive. Take us kind of through that, their offensive strategy and how you guys adjusted to that.
They did a nice job of not snapping it to under 5 seconds. The coaches brought the plays in pretty slow, then the quarterback made a conscious decision of not breaking the huddle till under 10 and not snapping it till under 5. So that takes quite a bit of time off the clock, especially since that's something that we don't do offensively. We move pretty quick. So it was a little bit slower pace there, and once you pick up one first down, there's 7 or 8 times that you can get 20 to 30 seconds off the clock. So that's why they're able to chew off a decent amount without scoring. And our kids were a little frustrated because we didn't have the ball in our hands, but in the end, we did a nice job of handling it and getting the ball back for us.
Yeah, when you get the ball back, your offense goes out and they score on the first play, a little swing pass to Isaiah that turns into an 80-yard touchdown.
Yeah, it was a tough play. They brought 6 on us on that one, and we were only able to block 5, but Andre knows he's got a check down, and his check down is Isaiah off to the side. And once we get Isaiah or Andre past the line of scrimmage 3 yards, big things can happen, and Isaiah was able to do his thing and able to score right away.
And then after a nice kickoff and coverage, your defense forces a quick 3 and out. How important are those 3 and outs after your offense scores quickly like that?
It's big. Sometimes we put a lot of pressure on the defense because we do score pretty quickly, and they got to get right back out in the field. But for them to go back out there and get that 3 and out, it was pretty big for us to be able to get the ball back in our hands and try to get some momentum going.
And then the offense, the next time you get the ball, takes a little bit more time to score. After a couple of nice runs and a couple of completions, Isaiah takes it in from the 1-yard line at the start of the second quarter.
Yeah, another big score. We don't get very many drives. We kind of move down the field a little bit. Most of our stuff's based on big plays and stuff, so it was good for our guys to be able to methodically kind of march down the field and put up a good score.
And then the rest of the first half was really defensively dominated. The offense sputtered just a little bit, but the defense seemed to really adjust to the offense, the triple option that West Carrollton was running after struggling against that same offense against Xenia last week.
No, it was good for our kids to be able to get a second chance at playing it. We had a pretty sound game plan with Xenia, and then obviously it didn't work as well as we wanted to, so we had to make some adjustments with some players and some kids, and the players had to settle in and really know their role. And it was nice for us to be able to get a second chance to face it. And as far as the offensive kind of sputtering out a little bit, I guess we're just so used to scoring every single time. We were able to score 2 of our 4 possessions in that first half, and I think most teams would normally take that, and we're just not used to only having 4 possessions. So the kids were a little frustrated at halftime.
Yeah, so it's 14-0. Was the team expectations that you guys would be up for 5 touchdowns, or have you guys been able to adjust to those things? What was the mood in the locker room?
It wasn't bad. I think they were a little frustrated, and then once we told them, we've only had 4 offensive possessions. We're holding scoreless on defense. I think sometimes they think we're going to be up 28-0 and 35-0 in some of those situations, but we only had 4 offensive possessions. So once we got them to calm down and realize a little bit, the mood was all right once we left.
So you guys get the ball to start the second half. Isaiah Bowser runs 5 times and grinds it out. And then you hit him with a 21-yard touchdown pass to Kelton Stockton, who was wide open in the end zone. Take us through that.
No, we kind of moved down the field, and, we needed that score to kind of get our confidence back up. Like we told them at halftime, we're doing all right. We got a punt a couple times there in the first half, but, Isaiah's defender kind of just fell over a little bit. Isaiah did a nice job getting himself open, and Andre, put the ball right on for a score, and kind of got the momentum going our way a little bit.
Great. And then really probably the biggest point in the game was the goal line stand against West Carrollton. They're down to the 1-yard line, inside the 1-yard line, and the defense holds them.
Yeah, that was big for our kids. We've been struggling a little bit on the defensive side of the ball, and I don't care who the team is on the other side. When the ball's on the 1 and you're able to stop them for 4 straight plays, that's pretty neat. I know on 3rd and 4th down, our kids got pretty excited about it. And I think DeMont Rucker started waving his hands up in the air, and for the first time in a while, our crowd stood up and really rallied behind it. And it was neat for the kids to see that, and great crowd that was there, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's really, really neat to see and to hear the crowd to get into the game like that. The offense turns around, gets the ball on the 1 yard line, and drives 99 yards, a couple of penalties. Isaiah actually gets 110 yards on that drive to score after the one long 76-yard scamper. You talk about Isaiah and his just ability, seemingly even more carries this year and even a harder runner. Talk about his ability to wear down the defense.
Well, it's amazing for a kid that gets the ball as many times as he does that the defense seems to be the ones that wear it down a little bit faster than he does, especially with many hits and abuse that he takes a little bit. And most of those hits, I think if we go back and kind of track how many hard hits he actually gets, I would say he's probably delivering the blow the majority of the time. I mean, it's still wear and tear on his body, but our goal for our offense is we tell our offensive linemen we just got to get him past that line of scrimmage and let him do his work. So those guys take a lot of pride in being able to get him 3 yards past, and once they know they get him 3 yards past, he can create a lot of things in the open field with his speed and his moves and that kind of stuff. And he's a special kid to be around. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really neat to watch. So you tack on 2 more scores, 42-0. You move to 5-0, expected to beat West Carrollton, so you're 5-0. The Yellow Jackets aren't in this position very often. So talk about your thoughts about what position you're in and what are those long-term goals for the team and how do you manage those expectations?
It's an interesting position to be in. I mean, we're not a program that's traditionally in this situation a lot. So you're kind of treading on difficult territory because you don't know how much you want to discuss it. You don't know how much you want to put it out there. But, we're open with our kids. We talk about our state rankings. We talk about the computer points and all that kind of stuff just because I know they're thinking about it, so there's no sense in not talking about it. But we also make it known that all that can go away very, very quickly. If we have a bad practice turns into a bad game, and all that stuff can go away very quickly. And, you got to deal with all the interviews. You got to deal with the TVs and the radio and the internet guys. That kind of stuff's new territory for us. But our kids are pretty grounded. They take it day by day. But like I said, at the same time, we also discuss the bigger picture.
And then looking forward to this week, it's Pickle week. What do the Indians do offensively this year?
They're a little bit more pass heavy than in the past. Austin Davis, the quarterback back there, does a really nice job. I think he's probably going to be the best quarterback we see overall for the year. As far as being able to be a true quarterback. Libertus from Bell Fountain's a pretty special athlete, but this kid can really sling it around. They got some nice big receivers on the outside. They got a good run game. They got one of the faster backs we're going to see all year. And then they got a kid, Ben Schmeezing at running back also. That's going to be a preferred walk-on at Ohio State. And as usual, they got their big offensive line that can move people around.
And then on the other side of the ball, what does Pickwa's defense offer this year? Probably the same.
Yeah, same defense, forefront, very disciplined. Not a lot of flash as far as exotic blitzes and all that kind of stuff. Try to keep the ball in front of them, put the pressure on the offense to make the mistake, and they're just very sound overall. Special teams also, you can't really find a weakness. And every year when you play them, you always try to find that one little spot you can take advantage of, and Pickwa never has that. It's a tribute to their coaching staff and their players being able to buy into what they do, and they do a really sound job across the board. I think it's, going into week 6, I think it's the most fundamentally sound team that we've played all year, and it's going to be a great challenge for us.
And then also for you guys, special teams has been, I think, a strong point for you, not giving up a whole lot of big plays on special teams, being sound in that. What about Pickwa special teams? What do they look like?
Same thing, like I was kind of saying with the offense and defense. They're just sound. They don't make mistakes. They don't give up big plays. They just do everything the right way. Like I said, it's nothing spectacular. They don't have any great returners or anything like that. All their kids just go out and do the right thing.
And also, before we go, Coach, give us a little bit of an update on the younger kids, the junior high, freshman, and JV teams. What's going on with them, and how are they performing?
The JV team and the freshman team kind of been up and down right now as far as wins and losses. I'd say the majority of their games have been pretty competitive. The coaching staff, the varsity staff, does a nice job of being able to get to the JV games and the freshman games. That was a big effort for us this year, is trying to get to more of those games, not just be there, but actually be active in coaching in those games with those kids. The 8th grade team is currently undefeated right now, and the 7th grade team's got 1 or 2 wins against about 2 or 3 losses. The 8th grade team's a pretty special class coming on up, and I think we're doing a nice job of trying to get back-to-back classes that are stacked up around here. And I think we got quality football players across the board from grades 7 through 12. And there's really not a class that lets down right now. And that's been a big part of our program to have some stability from class to class.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Coach, for joining us this week. Please tune in next week for the Football Coaches Show. I'm Brett Bickel. Go Jackets. Stingers up.